Assalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Okay, so we're going to carry on talking, inshallah. So like we said, we talked last Friday about the Aamul Fil, or the incident, or the year of the elephant, and what happened, and the king Abraha came from Yemen, to destroy the Kaaba, so people could go to the cathedral that he built in Yemen. But he forgot that people, like, they had a spiritual attachment to the Kaaba. Because the reason being, as we said before, the reason being why Abraha wanted to destroy the Kaaba and encourage people to come to the cathedral in Yemen is because obviously Kaaba, or Mecca at that time, it was the center of the region. So people used to come from everywhere, okay? They used to do pilgrimage at that time, and they used to go and do like trading and everything. So it was like a business opportunity, okay? So it was like the economical season for every region around Mecca and everything. So people coming from everywhere. So Abraha saw that as an opportunity, and he designed a cathedral. It was nice, nice looking, with gold and this and that. But and the Kaaba, as we said before, it's only stones, bricks, basically. Really and truly, when you look at the Kaaba, looking at the design or the looks of the Kaaba, without the cover that they have now, there's nothing pretty about the Kaaba. It's just bricks, But he forgot that people were attached in a spiritual way to the Kaaba. It's not about looks, it's not about designs, it's not about fancy things, but it's about the spiritual attachment that they had with the Kaaba. Obviously, because a lot of them, some of them obviously, they used to practice shirk, associating partners with Allah, or idol worshipping used to be practiced at that time. But a lot of them, this should be still worshipping, or the remains of the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the Abrahamic faith. So they had that attachment, and they knew what it means, the Kaaba, what it means and all that, okay? It's a sacred place. So obviously he didn't succeed, and we said that in that time they had no like numerical system where, say, like, oh, you was born on the 23rd of March or July, whatever, like we have now. So they used to say, oh, this person was born in the year of whatever. So something happened in that year. So they say, oh, he was born in the year of whatever incidents happened in that year. Unlike today, obviously, it's more advanced, so we could know the exact date and everything when a person was born. So, yeah. So that's the year when the Prophet ﷺ was born. There is a bit of some differences among the scholars in regards to the specific dates, in regards to the Islamic month, okay? So the month of Rabi'ul Awwal, okay? There are differences upon scholars, but majority of the scholars of the Seerah, they say it was the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, in the year of the elephant, okay? Some of them, they say the 9th of Rabi'ul Awwal. Some of them, they even said that it was a completely different month, but the stronger evidence is the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal, okay, of the year of the elephant. But sometimes we shouldn't really, because unfortunately sometimes a lot of people, they just pay a lot of attention to this, the date when he was born. The reason behind it is those who sometimes they celebrate the birth of the Prophet ﷺ, or they call it Mawlid al-Nabi, all right? That's why they kind of like pay a lot of attention to the specific dates, because they want to celebrate on that specific day, okay? But obviously, as we know, we don't really celebrate the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. We don't have such a, obviously, we might have in our communities, our parents maybe, or grandparents, for example, the way they've been brought up, they have that day is a special day for them, and they make food, or they go to the masjid, for example, whatever they call it, Durud Sharif, there's that, yeah. Obviously, that was never practiced in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. It was never practiced by the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, or even the followers of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. However, what I want to say is not, I'm not going to use the word we celebrate the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, because we don't do such thing, because obviously it's not from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. However, in the meantime, we should not look at the day or the month when the Prophet ﷺ was born as a normal time, just a normal month. We should be in between, So we should have a balance between not doing any bid'ah, something that has nothing to do with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but in the meantime, not be too extreme to just ignore that month or the time when the Prophet ﷺ was born, because he's the one who, who really came to take us from darkness to light. He's the one that Allah sent him to guide us to the right path. Because of him, we are Muslims today. So that's why we shouldn't look at it as a normal time. So basically, instead of, because sometimes you find a lot of people like fighting, arguing about this. Oh, you're doing bid'ah, you should not celebrate the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ. It's not celebrating the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, because sometimes you find a lot of people eating, they make food and this and that, and they've been doing it for years and years and years and years. And the worst thing is this. When you say to them, why are you doing it? They say, because we love the Prophet ﷺ. That's why we do it. So brothers, let me just turn this off. That's why they say we do it because we have the love of the Prophet ﷺ. So okay, that's fine, fair enough. No one says you shouldn't have the love for the Prophet ﷺ. However, how much do you know about the Prophet ﷺ? They don't know much. See? You say, okay, so you celebrate the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, but you don't know much about him. When you ask him, so how much? Tell me his father, his mom, his dad, his grandfather. Tell me a little bit about his life. Tell me some details about his life. They don't know much. That's why I say to them, all right then. So instead of celebrating the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ by just making food and eating and just going to the masjid and start doing whatever you're doing, instead sit down and learn about the Prophet ﷺ. Make that time is a time when you learn about the Prophet ﷺ. It doesn't mean you only learn about him in that specific month or that specific day only. No. We learn about the Prophet ﷺ every day of our lives. We should be learning about him. Every day of our lives, we should be learning about him. But however, that time obviously is a special time because it's not a normal time. Because that month is when the best human being was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that specific time. So instead of just celebrating or making bid'ah or something that has nothing to do with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, we should spend that time to learn about him, to educate like the youngsters, men, women, everyone in the community. In some countries, for example, what they do, like in Morocco, for example, there are people, unfortunately, like every other Muslim country, of course, they do like a lot of bid'ah, of practices that has nothing to do with the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in the time when he was born, in the month of Rabi'ul Awwal. But some others, mashallah, what they do the whole month. Even in some masjids, there is a book of Seerah called Al-Shama'il. Al-Shama'il, the characters of the Messenger, peace be upon him, by this scholar called Al-Qadi'iyat. And they study the whole book that talks about, that basically talks about the details of the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and also describes the Prophet ﷺ, small details about him, how he looked like, talks about his camels, his family, everything about his life. So they spend that month learning that whole book. So you find scholars sitting and teaching people about the Prophet ﷺ in that month. So at least that's not bid'ah, that's not against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But when people just gathering around, sitting and eating food and this and that and just dancing around, or sometimes, like I said, they gather in the masjid and they do like whatever they call it, Durud Sharif and this and that, it just But like I said, I always keep saying, and I will always say this: we should never, even if people in your community, your family, whatever, we should never be violent or aggressive. No, you bid'ah, you haram, you this. That's not gonna solve the problem. If you want to tell someone that what they do in bid'ah, number one, we've been told by Allah and His Messenger that you have to speak with wisdom, with kindness, politely. That's how we give advice. Because if you come to someone, to any of us, if someone comes to us now and says, what you're doing is haram, is bid'ah, you this, and now you're going to hellfire, you're not going to take it from him. But he comes to you nicely, Assalamu alaikum, how are you? How are you doing this, that? And then he talks to you nicely and politely, he will take it. See? So sometimes if someone, like I said before, in the past once I mentioned, if a member of your family been doing that, they're 60 or 70 now. So they've been doing that all their life, they've been doing that. How can you come and change them in 1 minute or 1 day or 1 month. You cannot change them. You can see the Prophet ﷺ, he spent 23 years of his da'wah, you know. And some Muslims, we got like early Muslims who accepted the message of Islam immediately, but you got some of them who didn't. It took him time to change them, to convince them. See? So that's why with even our families, our communities, we should not, you know, have that clash with them. Oh, you're doing bid'ah, you're doing this. If you want to advise them, we should do it nicely. We should be patient. We should find the right time, the right moments, you know, the right words to use, to explain to them, to guide them, to show them, to advise them. That's how we should do it. Because at the end of the day, what's the purpose? The purpose you saying to them that's bid'ah, for example, is because you love the Prophet ﷺ, you love the deen, and because you know that practice has nothing to do with the sunnah of the Prophet. That's why you want them to be doing whatever they're doing according to the way of the Prophet ﷺ. So you're doing it out of love to the sunnah of the Prophet. But what they're doing it out of love to the Prophet, because they think, and what they've been taught before, that's if you love the Prophet ﷺ, you need to do it that way. So the purpose or the common aim is the same. Your aim and their aim is the same. The purpose is the same. It's just the way how you do it. See? That's the main reason. So basically, I just wanted to touch on this quickly. So yeah, so there are differences upon scholars, but the strongest evidence is the 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal in the month of the year of the elephants, Amul Fil. That's when he was born, alayhi salatu wassalam. We all know the name of his father is Abdullah, yeah, Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib. Okay, so Abdul Muttalib is grandfather, Abdullah is his father. Did Abdullah die before or after the birth of the Prophet ﷺ? Before, yeah. What was the name of his mother? Yeah, Amina. So his father Abdullah, he died before he was born, so he born as an orphan. And then his mother Amina, there are a lot of narrations you might come across in books, or maybe if you're listening to like a lecture or something about the Prophet ﷺ. There are a lot of things that have been said or been mentioned that happened when his mother was giving birth to him. However, some of them I'm not going to go into them, because some of them we can't say they happened, we cannot say they didn't happen. Because certain things, because especially, and as you will find as we're learning about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, before he became a prophet, there isn't a lot of information as after he became a prophet. After he became a prophet, you're gonna, because most books of the seerah and this and that, when you look at the time before he was a prophet and after he was a prophet, so many incidents, so much information out there. But before is not much. It's not much before he was a prophet. And some of them, some scholars, they say there's evidence for it. Some of them, they say we don't know if it happened, it didn't happen. But the main thing here is that we know who is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and this, you know, the specific details that we need to know. Certain things, they will not make a difference whether they right, they correct or not correct. If we know them, we don't know them. They're not really going to impact on the way we worship Allah. They're not going to impact on how we believe in Allah or how we follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So yeah, so his mother Amina, when she was giving birth to him, after, she said it was an easy birth, or an easy way of giving birth to him. Because normally a woman, when she's giving birth to a baby, it's a hard time, of course. It's not easy, of course. So obviously we haven't experienced it, of course, as men, but obviously our mothers or wives or sisters, whatever, who got kids, they will say that. They will mention it, how, you know, how a difficult time it is for them. But for her, with the Prophet ﷺ, even when she was carrying him for 9 months, she said, I didn't feel it at all. Because normally a lady, when she's carrying a baby in her stomach, and especially when they get after the 6 months, you know, she could feel it like moving and this and that. She couldn't feel nothing. It was ease from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when she was giving birth to him at that time, she says that I saw a light coming out, that you could see even Sham. Who remembers the area of Sham? Sham is which?
Syria, Iraq.
Yeah, one more. And so Syria, Jordan, Palestine, and Lebanon. Yeah, so that's the region of Sham. So she said she saw a light coming when she was giving birth to him, that she could see even Sham from where she was, from Mecca. You know? So obviously that light, the light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. And that light is the light of him coming to guide humanity from darkness to light, from Jahiliyyah, you know, to worshipping Allah, to believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So she gave birth to him, and then his grandfather Abdul Muttalib is the one who named him Muhammad. It was his grandfather Abdul Muttalib is the one who named him Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And Muhammad means the one who is praised eternally, eternal praise. Like we can see today. He died, peace be upon him, 1400 years ago. But we still say sallallahu alayhi wasallam until this day, and until we die, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to finish this universe, this earth, people will be still saying sallallahu alayhi wasallam and reading salah upon the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he's the one who is praised eternally, non-stop, peace be upon him, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So his grandfather Abdul Muttalib is the one who named him. And it was a tradition of people of Mecca at that time, even though Mecca is a desert, obviously. It's not like a city, like, a developed city whatsoever. But even people at that time, they used to think Mecca is not a nice environment for a baby. So women in Mecca, they used to give the babies to women outside Mecca to foster them, like for a little bit, to breastfeed them and everything, look after them, because they thought them being in Mecca is not good for them. So they take them outside Mecca for a little bit of time. And even they used to have this way of thinking that if he goes outside Mecca, and he drinks the water from outside Mecca, even his tongue, his Arabic tongue will be much better than in Mecca. So women, they used to come from outside, tribes surrounding Mecca, they used to come, and they used to take babies from their mothers, and obviously they used to get paid for it. So one time a group of women came to Mecca, each woman took a baby, and none of them wanted to take Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. None of them. And the simple reason, because he was an orphan. He had no father. So they thought, who's going to pay us? Who's going to pay? Because obviously when a lady takes him, she's the foster mother of that child then. So she gets paid for looking after him, So none of them wanted to take Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's another thing that is a lesson for all of us. Obviously their way of thinking was because he was an orphan, and that shows all of us that we should not look down upon orphans. He was an orphan, yes, but look, he's the greatest human being who lived on this earth. So Halima, there's a lady called Halima as-Sa'diyah from the tribe of Banu Sa'd. The reason they call her as-Sa'diyah, because the tribe she's from, called Banu Sa'd. Alright? That's why they call her Halima as-Sa'diyah. Like, for example, if we say there's this brother, I don't know, brother actor, Pakistani actor. For example, basically you're linking him to his country, for example, or within, for example, Pakistan, I don't know, Punjabi, whatever, so you link him to his region, where is he from, So that's why they call her as-Sa'diyah, so that she's from the tribe of Banu Sa'd. Alright? But her name is Halima. So every lady that came, she took a baby, and none of them wanted to take Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Halima, she was going back with no baby, with nothing. Even her, she refused to take him. But then she thought, wow, every lady took a baby apart from me. Then she spoke to her husband. She said to him, you know what, I think that I'm going to take that baby, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said, even though he's an orphan, I think I'm going to take him. He said, yeah, take him, you never know.
So she didn't want to take Prophet ﷺ faced it though.
Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, in the beginning she didn't. Like I said, until the moment where when like every other lady she took a baby, it was only her, Halima Sa'diyah, she was left with no baby, no child was left there apart from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then she was thinking, oh, you know. And plus those women, yeah, they used to get paid for it. But also a lot of them, they used to love doing that. They used to love doing that kind of thing. You know, yeah, they're getting paid for it, but they used to like looking after babies. And maybe, to be honest with you, if you ask your grandma, for example, your mom or your grandma or something, she might say to you, you know, in the countries, for example, they might have had the same practices. Because I remember my grandma, for example, before, because her parents, they were from this specific village, for example. But she was living in the city. She grew up in the city. She was living in the city. But even though after that, she used to bring her nieces from, because one of her brothers, he used to live in a village in one of the mountains, and he had so many kids, mashallah. He had about 11 or 12. Obviously, he didn't have a lot of money, so she used to bring one of his daughters at a time. So she brought one. She looked after her and all that. She grew up. She got married. Then she got another one. So she raised 3 of them. That was like one of the part of the traditions, a habit, because those women, they used to love looking after babies, and you know. So mashallah. So yeah, so Halima, she decided then to take Prophet Muhammad ﷺ rather than going with no baby at all. Then she spoke to her husband. Her husband said, yeah, you never know, you know, it might be some goodness, some khair. She took Muhammad ﷺ. Halima, she had her own baby, but she had no milk, she had no food, she had nothing in the house. Her own baby, the last few nights before she brought Muhammad ﷺ, he used to cry in the night. So she didn't used to get enough sleep. Her or her husband, not at all. And obviously, after a lady she gives birth and stuff, then she has a lot of milk, so she starts like breastfeeding her child. But Halima, she had no milk at all, because there wasn't much food and this and that, like nutrition and stuff. So she has nothing. So the baby keeps crying in the night. But the first night when she brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of a sudden she started breastfeeding Muhammad, a lot of milk coming out of her. And she says, she narrating it, she says, that was the first night we had a good sleep after a few nights. Because of my own baby, he wouldn't sleep because he was hungry and I had nothing to feed him. They used to take their camels and goats, but a lot of them used to come because they were, you know, because it's a desert, there's no food, there's nothing, just the sand basically. But after she brought Muhammad ﷺ, her goats, camels, whatever, eating a lot and producing a lot of milk. Even her, she was shocked, even her husband. He said, wow, this boy, there's something special about him, definitely. There is something special about this little boy here, you know? Even they used to ride a donkey. She had a donkey, and her donkey was the slowest one out of all the donkeys of other women. And when she got Muhammad ﷺ, he started becoming the fastest one. And they're asking her, is it the same donkey that you had before? She says, yeah, it's the same one. So what happened? Why is it so fast all of a sudden? And these are the blessings of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. As we're gonna see, even before he became a prophet, from him being a child there, from early age, from childhood, all the way until he married Khadija, okay? Because then after he married Khadija, then that's when he's gonna become a prophet. But before then, you're gonna see a lot of incidents happening, taking place, that indicates that there is something special about him. This is not like just a normal person here. There is something unique and special about this person. And we all know the special thing about him, he is the best human being. He's the final messenger. So then, that happened, so they were amazed. And then obviously she was supposed to take him after a little bit of time to his mother, Amina. When time came that she had to take him back to his mother, she was begging his mum. She said to her, please, Amina, can I keep him for a little bit more? She said, you know, Mecca is not a good environment. Mecca is like, you know, polluted and this and that. It's not a nice place for him. Come on, keep him with me in Banu Sa'd. In the tribe of Banu Sa'd is a better tribe, is a better place for him. So please. But because the Halima, when she's saying this, and she's narrating this even after, she's saying the purpose, obviously, because she loved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She loved him a lot. And as we're going to see, even before, after he became a prophet, and Halima, she was an old woman that time. She used to see the Messenger of Allah, and he used to sit with her, he used to hug her, he used to sit her down. So, because she wanted those blessings, because she saw how much barakah, how much blessings Allah put in her life, in everything that she had. So she was begging his mom, please, can I keep him? And then she said, yes, okay, you can keep him a little bit longer. And then one time, he was playing with the kids outside. And this is one of the first incidents that's going to happen to him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the first incident, or major incident, that's going to happen to him. They were playing outside, and then his foster brother and the other kids, they got so scared, they ran away. And the foster brother went to his mother, Halima. He said, oh, two men came to Muhammad, you know, and they put him down on the floor, they're doing something to him. He was so scared. So Halima came, and that was Jibreel alayhi salam. Okay, he came, he opened his chest. Because the boy, the foster brother of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he went to his mother, he said they came, they opened his chest, and they taken something out of it. So even Halima, she was so scared. She came, she found Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even himself, he was scared. He was very pale and scared, because he was a little boy, you know. But that's Jibreel alayhi salam. Allah sends the malaika to purify Muhammad. They opened his chest, because every human being has that black spot in his heart. So they took that out of his chest. So he's pure. He doesn't have that black spot in his chest. Every human being has that. But Allah sends the malaika to purify him when he was a baby. So that happened to him. And that incident was the first major one that happened to him in his life. And like I said, even a lot of scientists and scholars say that was the first operation that happened. You know, it happened in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They opened his chest, they took, you know, the black spot, and they put it back to normal. So Halima was so scared. So then she decided to take him back to his mother, because she was worried that something gonna happen to him, and she knew Alhamdulillah. Sorry, brothers, because we're talking here about not any random person, but this is, you know, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So yeah, so Halima, she was so scared. And obviously, she's seen evidence and signs from before that there is something special about him. But this particular incident made her sure that this person, there is something definitely special about him. She thought, I don't want to take responsibility anymore. I want to take it back to his mom. So she took him back to his mother. And she said, in the beginning, she didn't want to say to her what happened to him. You know, because she didn't know that was the malaika came, the angels came. She didn't know who they were. She was just two people, two human beings came. They've done something to him, you know. So she told her, oh, Amina, it's time for me to give you back Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your son. So Amina was shocked. She said, before, he was so keen, so determined to have him more for a longer time. He was begging me, but now you want to give him back to me. So Halima, in the beginning, she didn't want to scare his mother. But Amina, she was insisting in knowing what happened. So Halima, because she was scared, she told her what happened. But look at his mother. Look at Amina, his mum. She's the mother. She's the real mother, the blood mother of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but she wasn't scared. Even after Halima told her what happened to him, she was not scared. Why? That's in that moment. That's how we got from what she said about giving birth to him. That's the time that made her mention. She said, when I was carrying him, it was no pain, nothing. It was an easy birth. Even when I was giving birth to him, I saw light coming out that I could see Sham, you know, which is far away from Mecca, that I could see Sham with that light that came out. She said, Wallahi, you know, by Allah, Allah will never put him down. There's something special about him, and Allah will protect him. So she was not scared, and that was his mother. So she gave him back to his mum, and then after that, obviously she was looking after him and everything, and then she will die. Amina, his mother, she will die when he was at the age of 6. He was 6 years old. That's when his mother died. So look now, my brothers, he was born as an orphan. He's going to go to the tribe of Banu Sa'd. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to favor him over all, even his own sons, the sons of Abdul Muttalib. He used to favor Muhammad over all of them. All of them. And it been mentioned that Abdul Muttalib had a special seat around the Kaaba. Because like we said before, Abdul Muttalib was a very well respected person, or noble man upon the Quraysh, upon the Meccans. So people used to have a lot of respect for Abdul Muttalib. And he had a special place where he used to sit next to the Kaaba. No one was allowed to sit there. None of his kids. None of them. Apart from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad, he was still a baby, that's a little boy. He used to go and sit there and you know, and stay there. And his uncles used to say, no, don't sit there. Like Abdul Muttalib. And he used to say, no, leave him. He's my son. He's my son. Leave him. Like he deserves to sit there next to the Kaaba. So even Abdul Muttalib, he knew, and he saw signs that there is something special about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he used to say it to them. He used to say to them, because the grandfather is the same level as the father. That's why he used to call him son. He used to say to them, my son, he's going to be something when he grows up. He's going to be something special. There is something special about him. Just like wait and see. Wait and see. And he used to be proud. And Abdul Muttalib, like I said, he used to spoil him. He used to look after him and everything. He used to favor him. And then Abdul Muttalib will die when he was at the age of 8. So 2 years after his mother died. So his mother died at the age of 6. At the age of 8, Abdul Muttalib will die. So that's another test from Allah. You can see from an early age, Allah is testing him. And Allah, not just testing him, Allah is preparing him for the da'wah, preparing him for the message. Because he needs to be someone who is strong. Someone who is truly unique and special for the final message. For the final message of Allah. Because he's the final messenger. He's the one who's going to come to guide humanity to the right path. To worship in Allah. And like we said, even in the Jumu'ahs, the khutbahs, we're talking about the belief in Allah. All this for what? Allah going to prepare him and send him to humanity for what? To show them, to convey the message to them that you are here for one purpose, which is to believe in Allah and to worship Allah alone. So it has to be someone very special and someone very unique, especially for the final message of Allah, you know? So you can imagine any other boy, my brothers, my sisters, if it happens to any of us, can you imagine you being born as an orphan without a father? The incident, the opening of the chest, that's gonna happened to him, that in itself is very terrifying for a little child. He was under 5 when that happened to him. His mom gonna die at the age of 6. He's just getting used to his grandfather now. He's just starting to kind of like forget about his mother. And then his grandfather gonna die. You know? For any other child, my brothers, it will impact him for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life, he will be impacted by that. When he's growing up, when he's a teenager, when he has his own kids, he's going to be impacted by that for the rest of his life. And I'm sure we might know family members, friends, that the parents died when they were young or something, and it did have a bad impact on them, a huge impact on them. But not on Muhammad ﷺ, because Allah is protecting him. Allah safeguarding him. Allah is preparing him for the bigger message. So after Abdul Muttalib died, his uncle Abu Talib gonna start looking after him now. Abu Talib. Abu Talib also, he used to look after him. He cared about Muhammad ﷺ. He protected him. Even after, as we're gonna see, even after he became the Prophet ﷺ, he became the messenger, Abu Talib was always there for him. Was always there for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. One time, Abu Talib was going to Sham with Muhammad ﷺ because they do like trading and stuff. So he was going with him to Sham, and then they met this Jewish rabbi. And then he saw, because there were signs, as we're going to see later on, when we start talking about him becoming a prophet, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, all of them mentioned that there will be a messenger coming after them. And they have given to their people, to their community, specific signs about the final messenger. They have given them specific signs about the final messenger. So when he saw him, the monk, he saw Muhammad ﷺ with his uncle Abu Talib. He looked at him and he could see the signs in Muhammad ﷺ. And he'd been mentioned and narrated as well that he had like a stamp here in his shoulder, here. The stamp of prophecy, of prophethood, that he's a prophet. It was there, and that's one of the signs. That was one of the signs. So when that monk saw him, he asked Abu Talib, his uncle, he asked him, he said, "Is this your son?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Yeah, he's my son." He didn't lie to him, but because in that time, and even Islamically, the uncle is classified as the father. The uncle is classified as the father. So he said to him, "Yeah, he's my son." The monk said, no way. This child doesn't have a father. No way. Why? Because in the previous scriptures, it's been mentioned that the final messenger, he will be an orphan, he will not have a father. Because that monk, he saw the signs and he knows truly this is the final messenger, and there's no way, because he was following the right path, and he knew the scriptures of Musa, of Isa, the true scriptures that never been changed. You know, they don't lie. Those mentioned, they don't lie, because the revelation coming to them from Allah, and they said that this boy, which is the final messenger, who will become the final messenger, he will not have a father. And there's no way, because he saw the signs, he said there's no way that this boy will have a father. No. Then Abu Talib, wow, was like, "Yeah, I'm his uncle." So the monk, he warned him, he said, "Don't take him to Sham, because they will kill him. Take him back to Mecca." So then he took him back to Mecca, because he was worried about him then, because he knew certain people would want to kill Muhammad ﷺ if they knew, and because they know the signs, and if they see those signs and they know it's him, they will come after him. So then Abu Talib, obviously, immediately he took him back to Mecca. He couldn't risk the life of Muhammad ﷺ. Muhammad ﷺ, one of the things that he used to do when he was a child, he used to be a shepherd. And that, not just him, it's been mentioned that every prophet did that. Every single prophet was a shepherd when they were younger. And there is a wisdom. There's a wisdom by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because if you're a shepherd, yeah, and you got like, goats and cows and sheep, whatever, sometimes they run away. They go different directions. You have to gather them. You have to get them together. You have to be scared, in case the wolf or the fox will come and eat them, You have to protect them. You have to keep them on track. Keep them intact. And that's preparing them for the bigger message to keep the ummah together, to keep the Muslims together, to keep the people together. It's preparing them for the message, for what is greater, what is more heavier, what is more harder. That was just the beginning. That was just the beginning, basically. So then, in that time, even a lot of people in Mecca, they started seeing certain things about Muhammad ﷺ that were unique. Even the people of Mecca, they could see, of course, they could see other kids in the age of Muhammad ﷺ, and they could see Muhammad ﷺ, and they could see such a huge difference between him and them. You could see such a huge difference, and things that are not normal, things that couldn't happen just like that. They know there are things that are unique, signs of there is something special, that this boy is protected by Allah, is guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even a lot of the Meccans, they started to see that in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And also when he was a boy, when he was younger, he never ever drank alcohol, for example, or committed adultery, or worshipped idols whatsoever. Nothing. Never at all in his life. Never ever. Because he's the messenger. And there is no way for someone who is going to become a messenger to do those kind of things, even before he is the messenger. Because there are something or specific characteristics for the messengers and the prophets of Allah. That's why Allah chooses them specifically to be prophets and messengers. Because Allah will not choose someone who was, was practicing idol worshipping, for example. Someone who used to drink alcohol before, or someone who used to, associate partners with Allah. Allah will not choose such a person to become the messenger. So there are special characteristics of the messengers, all of them. That's why Allah has chosen them specifically to be the messengers. And obviously one of them is being pious, righteous, honesty, truthfulness. Those characteristics are specific and special and unique to the messengers of Allah. So Muhammad ﷺ never ever done such thing before. And there was another person which we will talk about later on, inshallah. And as we said, when we finish from the seerah, if we have time, we'll talk about the 4 leaders after the Prophet ﷺ. One of the people, it was Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He never ever drank alcohol in his life. He never worshipped idols in his life. He never committed adultery in his life, Abu Bakr. That's why Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was a close friend of the Prophet ﷺ even before he became a prophet. Even before he became a prophet, he was a close friend of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because they had special common characteristics together. Because the messenger, he wouldn't be close friend with someone who worship idols, who associate partners with Allah. He wouldn't be friends with someone who drink alcohol. He wouldn't. That's why Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was a close friend of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam even before he became a messenger. From an early age, they were friends together because they had common characteristics together. And even there are some narrations, some scholars say is authentic, some scholars say it's not a hadith, but it's just a saying. But what it says, or the meaning of it means, if there was a prophet to come after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it would be Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he is the best human being after the prophets. After all the messengers of Allah, all the prophets and messengers of Allah, the best human being is Abu Bakr, number 1. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. The first one who will enter paradise, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. You know, without even being questioned by Allah. Because one time, the Prophet ﷺ was talking to his companions and he said to them that Umar radiallahu anhu, he will be the first to enter paradise. They were shocked. He said, what about Abu Bakr? He said, do you think Abu Bakr even going to be questioned by Allah? He's not going to be questioned by Allah on the Day of Judgment. Abu Bakr, what he done for Islam, no one has done the same as Abu Bakr for the sake of Allah, for Islam. No one. And we will come to that, inshallah, when we speak specifically about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his childhood, he spent it with his uncle Abu Talib, and his other uncles, of course, they were there. In Mecca, he was a shepherd. And then he started, when he was 20, let me mention this, when he was 20, they were rebuilding the Kaaba. And he participated in rebuilding the Kaaba with the people of Mecca, with the Quraysh. So he was participating with them, even though he was younger. And then when he was at the age of 20 as well, there was a treaty that was signed, or that was agreed upon, an agreement among the people of Mecca and even the other tribes outside Mecca. They came to an agreement, so they had a treaty, which is basically the aim behind it is to, because at that time a lot of people, those who had the power, they used to take advantage of those who had no power at all. So they will take their property, their wealth, everything. Because they got no power to defend themselves, you know, to fight back. So they all came together, and that treaty was about supporting those who are weak, standing up to those who are bullying others, standing up to those who are taking advantage, those who are using power to abuse and torture others. So that was the aim behind it, equality. So that was the first treaty, if you want to say, about equality, my brothers and sisters. So it's in that time, not in today's society, or not like, you know, but probably, you know, in the 20th century, you know, probably the half of it or something, people started bringing up or coming up with those kind of things. But that time, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was things about equality. Everyone is equal. No one taking advantage of no one. No one is abusing no one. Everybody is respecting the other. They're all living together in peace and harmony. You know, one community, one society. And when he signed that treaty with them, he wasn't a messenger. But after he became the Prophet ﷺ, he said to them, to his companions, he said, if I am invited to sign or to do the same treaty as a prophet, I will do it again. I will do it again. So those were some of the things that he done, or he participated in when he was younger. And then the last part that I'm going to mention before we stop, inshallah, is he started working for this lady called Khadija radiallahu anha. So Khadija, she was a businesswoman, and she had people working for her. But unfortunately, a lot of them, they were not trustworthy. They were not honest. She will send them, but they will not give her all the money that they made from the business. They will keep a lot of it in their pocket. She had a servant called Maysara. So she heard about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She heard about, because even before he became a prophet, they used to call him as-sadiqul amin, the honest, the trustworthy. So every person in Mecca used to trust Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even certain times when they used to have like arguments or disputes upon them, they used to come to him because they used to trust him. All of them, every single person in Mecca. And we will see this later on when he becomes the messenger. And some of them, even before they're being told he's the messenger or something, they will be asked about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do you know about Muhammad? They will say, he's honest, he's trustworthy, he's this, he's that. But when the minute they say, oh, so you saying that you confirming he's the trustworthy person, he's the honest one, he's this, they say, yes, we confirm that. They say, so he is the messenger of Allah, he's coming with this message. Then they will turn, they will change the story then. You say, no, he's not honest, he's not trustworthy, he's lying, he's this, he's that. Why? Just because he didn't want to believe in Allah. That's the only reason. So when she heard about the characteristics of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she asks him to work for her. And she used to send her servant Seerah to go with him to Sham, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan. They used to go from Mecca to there. So Seerah used to watch Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he used to observe what's going on. Number one, obviously, he used to see that he's honest and he's trustworthy. Whatever he makes from the business, he goes and he gives it back to Khadija. Unlike those who used to work for her before, they used to put a lot of the money in their pocket. So they were not honest. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was honest and trustworthy. Also, the other things that Seerah started to see, when they go in, they traveling and all that, it used to be, obviously because the area, you know, is boiling hot in there. The clouds will start shading Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the sun. The clouds will start shading him. So Seerah used to be amazed of what's going on. And he used to go back and report to Khadija radiallahu anha. He used to say to her what's happening, what he sees. So, well, I see some amazing things that I've never ever seen in my life. The clouds are shading him, this, that. He used to be amazed. So even Khadija, she started being amazed of what, you know, by what Seerah is telling her about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she started to like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She started to like him. And then she wanted to get married to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam after. She wanted to marry him, you know. And that shows one thing. I know a lot of people might find it a bit strange, or might find it, well, you know, they can't do that, or probably it's not practiced as it used to be before. But look, Khadija radiallahu anha, she was amazed by the characteristics of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously she saw the characteristics that any woman would like in a man. Honest, trustworthy, pious, righteous, good manners, you know. And she wanted to marry him. But Khadija, she found the right way of doing it. She told one of her friends. There's a narration said her sister, another narration said her friend. So one of them said it was Hala, her name is Hala, and one of them said it was a different lady called Nafisa. So she told her about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how she likes Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and everything. And then she came to the messenger, the other lady came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she told him about Khadija. She said to him, what do you think of Khadija? What do you think of Khadija? So that shows there is nothing wrong if a lady, she likes a man and she sees she likes him because of good characteristics, of course. You know, she sees piety, righteousness, you know, honesty, truthfulness, you know, good manners, you know, as long as it's done the right way. See? So Khadija, she done it the correct way. She didn't go to him. She didn't say to him, let's go and meet up in a coffee shop. Let's go to the cinema, watch a movie, you know, and then we get to know each other, you know, that way. No. But she done it the right way. She went to the lady. She told her. The lady went to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and she told him, what do you think of Khadija? It's like testing the water first. If he's interested in Khadija, for example, then we will take it further. If he says, no, you know, she's a lovely woman, but I don't really look at Khadija that way, for example, then she will go back to Khadija and say to her, you know what, he's not interested really, or maybe he's thinking about another lady. So that's it. So Khadija, she can change her mind. Yeah, she can still like him as a person for his characters, but if she want to get married, she can look for another person because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not interested, he's interested in another person, another woman, for example. And that's the correct way of doing it. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was amazed by Khadija also because she was a good woman. She was a really good woman. She had a lot of good characteristics about her. And obviously at the end of the day is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam going to get married to Khadija. It's all decreed by Allah. It's all the qadr of Allah that Khadija going to get married to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And why the reason Khadija going to be the first wife of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not another one. Allah knows that Khadija is the right one for him in that particular time, the particular moment for him, because he's going to become the messenger. She's the right one to support him, to stand by him, to guide him, to be there for him in that moment, not another woman. Another woman, maybe she's not going to be strong enough for that message. So yeah, so it's all the qadr of Allah. Remember, the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that she's going to be the first wife of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So like I said, there's nothing wrong, there's no harm in if someone, a lot of people still practice that, mashallah. If you see a person who is pious, righteous, honest, good characters, good person, for example, there is no harm for someone to go to him if he has a daughter, to ask him if he's interested to get married, for example. Islamically, I'm talking about. Yeah, Islamically, there is nothing wrong with it. You could see Khadija, in a way, she's the one who proposed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. See, as long as it's done the right way, the correct way, that's what matters. So there's no harm in doing that. For example, as long as the person righteous, pious, honest, good manners, good characters, he has the deen, which is the criteria. There's nothing wrong with the father to go to someone, say to him, are you interested in getting married? For example, I have a daughter. And of course, as long as that daughter, she deserves that person. She's religious, she's pious herself. She got, deen and good characters, good manners and all that. So there's nothing wrong with it, because going to someone who has righteousness, piety, good manners, good characters, even if he does get married to your daughter, if he, like I said, if he's a true pious person, he will never say to her, put her down, or say to her, it was your dad who proposed to me. It was you, not me. He will never say that, because he has piety. He knows that's wrong. And he knows that her father coming to him, there's nothing wrong with it. That's from the deen. But a person who has no deen, no good manners, no good characters, no piety, you can't go to him and say to him, I'm going to give you my daughter. Because you're just going to humiliate her one day. You're going to say to her, you know what, you have no value at all. Your dad just wanted to get rid of you. He came to me and said, I'll give you my daughter. He just wanted to get rid of you. Someone who has no deen, no piety, that's what they would do. So what I'm trying to say is, Islamically, there's nothing wrong with it, my brothers. So, and Khadija, one thing, Khadija, she was married twice before she got married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, there's a lot of stigma attached to women who are divorced, for example. Like, if a lady, if she's divorced, that means she's a bad woman. She's not good. She's an evil woman, for example. And that's wrong. Of course, it could be, because you don't know the reasons. She could be because she done something terrible, bad. Yeah, that's why. But she could be a good woman, a pious woman, and Allah decreed for her to get divorced. Even the companions, the Prophet ﷺ got married, got divorced. The companions of the Prophet, they got married, they got divorced. There is nothing wrong with it. As long as obviously she didn't do something that was bad, to end that marriage. So there's nothing wrong. So we shouldn't look down on a woman, because within our communities, there are still a lot of thinking, a lot of traditions and customs that are associated with this. Like, if a woman, she's divorced, there's nothing good with her. Or if a son want to get married to a lady who is divorced, the parents, they will not allow it at all. They'll be like, you're bringing shame on the family. You're getting married to a divorced woman. Are you crazy? Probably she done magic on you. She done sihr on you or something. That's why you want to marry her if she's divorced. Like I said, see, so Islamically, this is the wrong way of thinking, my brothers. It's the wrong way of thinking. So, and this is the best example. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's going to get married, and he's the best human being. He's not like just a random person, a normal human being. No, he's the messenger, the final messenger, the best human being. And he's going to get married. His first wife, Khadija, radiallahu anha, she got married before, and she was older than him. Do you know how old she was? She was 40. And he was,
25.
yeah, he was 25. She was 40. She was older than him. You can see the age gap between him and her. 40, 25, divorced twice. Do you think most of our parents would say yes if someone comes to them, or if a son goes to his mom or his dad, she's 40, older than him, she's been divorced twice, and he's gonna say, I want to marry her. They're gonna think he's crazy. They're gonna, they might kick you out of the house. They might say, you know what, she's done magic on you. So yeah, but we're not saying like, yeah, just we should just go and get married to someone who's 40 or 50. No, of course. But all we're saying is we shouldn't have that, that stereotyping, like, if a woman, she's divorced or something, she's bad, no one should get married to her. That's just wrong. Islamically, in Islam is not like that. So that's not an Islamic way of thinking. So we just need to distinguish between, the Islamic way of thinking and customs and traditions. It's very important for us to know that. So Khadija radiallahu anha, she was 40. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was 25. She was divorced. She got married and got divorced twice. And she's going to get married to him. They got married. And like I said, it was a decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to choose Khadija for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this time and to be the first wife. A lot of wisdoms behind it, and Allah knows best. Of course, we don't know. But just some of the wisdoms that we could see, if she was a younger wife, he was 25. If she was younger than him, she's like 20, for example, 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever, she would be still young. She still want to live life. She still want to go, out and about. She still want to enjoy life and this and that. She's not going to be interested in the message. She's not going to be interested in da'wah, supporting him, the angel coming to him, as we will see inshallah next week, Jibreel coming to him, him going shaking, his wife, comforting him and everything. If she was someone young, even the mindset would be so different. But because she was so mature, growing up, so wise, she'd been experiencing life, she'd been through a lot. So she's a wise woman now. She's mature. She's the right one to guide him, to support him, to stand by him, So that is a wisdom by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why, say like Aisha radiallahu anha, she was younger. She was a lot younger, But she wasn't the first wife. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that not another wife, the right wife for him in that time, but Khadija, she's the right one for him at that time, And you can see, even that time, among the Arabs and the Quraysh and among the family of the Prophet ﷺ, none of them, they didn't really resist. They didn't really say, no, don't get married to this lady because she's older than you, she's this and that. They didn't. Because even Khadija radiallahu anha, she had a good reputation in Mecca. So yeah, so I'm gonna stop here, my brothers, for today. So we're gonna stop by the marriage to Khadija radiallahu anha. Like I said before, from the birth of the Prophet ﷺ until becoming a prophet, is not much information out there. Or there are a lot of some info, but some of it, like I said, some of it is authentic 100%. Some of it there's disagreements upon scholars. So we don't want to go into into things that we're really not going to benefit us, in terms of learning about the Prophet ﷺ or increasing our deen or our knowledge or our love for the Prophet ﷺ. So I'm going to stop here, inshallah. Do you have any questions, that you wanna ask, inshallah? Yes, akhi.
Sure.